Okay. Quick testimony. Let's see. I'm a fifth-generation Texan. Grew up on the prairie out here. Oh, about 70 miles west of Houston, running cattle, farming rice. Some years ago, nearly 20 years ago now, my dad took sick and died. I was working in Florida, and he was in debt when he died. It happens to men on the land sometimes. You're in debt for a few years, then you're on top, then you're under, then you're on top. Well, his health failed while he was financially down, and he died in debt. So I came home to save the ranch, and worked. It was a big debt, so you find yourself working, night and day, 7 days a week, pushing, 7 days a week, pushing, feeling the stress. You're going to get things paid off. You're going to honor his name. And not really understanding what stress can do to you over a long period of time. Then one day, out on the prairie by myself, in August in the heat, something went really bad wrong. I had a heat stroke. I managed to make it to town. My right arm was paralyzed for a while. I was down for about 4 days. Nearly died. Came back. Thought, well, okay, I survived that. Got back on my feet. Felt lucky to be alive. Started to get back in the harness, and then I discovered I had changed. I no longer had any heat resistance. Not a good thing when you're on the Texas prairie. In fact, I'd gotten old overnight. It's like, say you catch a bad flu bug or something that knocks you in bed for a couple of days, and you get up and suddenly you're old. This is basically what I was living with for years. Well, first I did go to about 6 or 7 doctors. Can you help me? I had a heat stroke. And what I was told repeatedly was, okay, you had a heat stroke. Now for the rest of your life, you're going to have to be real careful. That's it? Well, yeah, you're going to have to be real careful because it was bad. So, well, what do I do? Well, you have to be real careful. Now, one guy was helpful. He said, you got to live like a lizard. Now, when it gets hot, find someplace cool. And when it's cold, try to find someplace warm. I thought, well, thank you, Well, anyway, for the biggest thing was I felt bad. I felt bad all the time. Well, what one thing did you feel bad about? I just felt inside, I just felt bad all the time. Now, there was about 4 or 5 months in the cool part of the year where it was, kind of okay. And at first I thought, well, maybe I'm getting over it. But when it turned warm in the spring, all through summer and through most of the fall when it was warm, I felt bad all the time. Year after year, I realized I wasn't getting better. I just had a little bit of relief during the cool time of the year. Now, a lot of people, they go low thyroid and they get real cold sensitive. For some reason, I was kind of the mirror image of that. I became extremely heat sensitive. I could walk into a warm room and in 30 seconds I was feeling sick. It was just that quick. This is basically the symptomology that I developed and I carried with me for 10 years. Felt bad, exclamation point, all the time. Heat sensitive, tendency to have blurred vision, had a hard time focusing my eyes or keeping them focused. Loss of hearing. My ears were ringing so loud sometimes I could not hear what people were saying. I know that's a little hard to accept, but it was that way. Rapid graying of hair. I had black hair and it grayed out so fast, but not that a lot of people noticed because then I had rapid thinning of hair. The weight gain. I was always an athlete and I worked out all my life and I continued to work out of sheer discipline. But somehow I just started packing on the pounds, and I gained about 35, 40 pounds. Watched what I ate, didn't matter. Felt bad. I was weaker. Even though I worked out, I wasn't able to lift as much weight. My stamina was the main thing that I lost. I really got to where I couldn't run cross country anymore. I couldn't jog a mile. If I did manage to jog a mile, it was literally, this is what I was doing, And that was on sheer discipline. Brain fog. Oh, you get up and you walk across the room to get something, and when you get over there, you can't remember what you went for. It was that bad. You call somebody up and they say hello, and I forget who did I call. And that was common. Happened all the time. I hate to think that back then I was driving a car. Let's see, weaker, less stamina, brain fog, insomnia. Insomnia as a regular course. It was rare when you could just lay down and go to sleep. Night sweats. Oh, that was nasty. Just night sweats all the time. The sheets were just dripping. At first I thought a fever broke, but then I realized this is something else. I have it all the time. When I did sleep, I slept too long. I may be down for, I might sleep 10 hours. When I woke up, I felt fatigued, not rested at all. Typical in the middle of the morning, had to take a nap. Might be 20 minutes, might be over an hour. Typical, middle of the afternoon, had to take a nap. Might be 20 minutes, might be 2 hours. And this is how you get through the day, dragging your feet. And the whole time, I felt bad. Now, guys, I seldom thought about women. I mean, that ain't natural, I was ill-tempered and grouchy, though I usually kind of, contained it. I didn't show it, but I was just really I can't believe they said that. Disconnected, just wasn't there. A couple of times that actually worked to my advantage. Was you're sitting at the table and you're working out, negotiating a contract, and it comes down to price, and they make you their offer and you don't respond. You're just kind of there. They make a better offer, and so you actually you came out of it all right. But what they didn't realize is I wasn't there. I wasn't at the table. Okay, let's see. I said I continued to work out. I did out of sheer discipline because that was my lifestyle. But I was constantly straining muscles, hurting joints, feeling like I pulled myself, like, oh, got a hernia. Didn't have a hernia, felt like I did. Or you try to lift weights, I guess I just didn't warm up enough. Some days your joints hurt so bad you couldn't lift weights. Loss of flexibility. Pain in the elbows, knees, shoulders, forearms. Had to be careful. If you shook hands with somebody, I had to kind of shake hands with them here. If you reach out to shake hands, when you engage in the grip, your forearm hurts so bad it almost puts you to your knees. And I didn't want to let on to anybody that I didn't know what I had. I thought I don't know what it was. The pain in the knees, my knees were so stiff. I just knew I was developing arthritis. I mean, my knees were so stiff, it was just agony to get down and get back up. Excuse me. Well, then there were days when your feet hurt. Your feet hurt so bad you couldn't walk. You could not put your weight on your feet. It was terrible. Frequent colds, flu, respiratory conditions. I could not get through the winter time without having at least 2 bad episodes, a bad cold or flu or something. I always caught something every winter. I've been going to the Hotze Health and Wellness Clinic 6 years now. I have not had one winter cold in 6 years. I haven't had the flu in 6 years. Actually, I haven't been sick in 6 years. Constant sinus problems. Enough said. Bit my tongue all the time. I chewed my tongue more than I chewed my steak. Well, I went low thyroid and my tongue enlarged. I was biting it continually. Well, my body temperature was about 97 degrees or cooler. I was subject to fearful thinking. Now, to explain that, it's not that you're in terror all the time, but like it's time to make a decision. You're kind of, okay, I think we better, well, wait a minute, let's think now. What could go wrong? I guess we are, well, wait a minute, maybe something might go wrong we can't think of. We better not make a decision right now. That's fearful thinking. That's no way to run a business. Now, there were times, this is disturbing to a man, there were times where you find yourself in a confrontation and you don't have any courage, and that's not you. You back down or you back away from it. You think, that's not me. I can't believe I couldn't stand. You didn't have courage. Your heart failed. Something was wrong. There's perpetually exhausted, and I felt bad. I felt bad. I got to emphasize that to you. I felt horrible all the time. One other thing I got to mention, you go through life and you never feel like you can inhale a full, satisfying lungful of air. It's like you're trying to breathe in, but it's never enough to satisfy your lungs. And if you do manage once or twice a day, then for a brief, fleeting second, it felt nice, and then it was gone. Well, I went for 10 years with that. And finally I came to the Hotze Health and Wellness Clinic because I ran into 3 or 4 young women that young middle-aged women that I knew, and all of them suddenly looked really good. And you ask, well, what are you doing? Or what, did you change your diet? And they all told me the same thing. You need to go to the Hotze Health and Wellness Clinic. Well, I kind of stayed away from that because that sounded Hotze Health and Wellness Clinic. That sounded kind of new age to me. So I didn't go for a long time, but I did finally. The time came when you feel so bad, you don't know how long you're going to be alive. And so you go. In my case, I got my life back. I didn't get any hair, but life is good now. Let's see, I can do as many push-ups, pull-ups, and sit-ups as when I was a senior in high school. And when I was a senior, I was fit. Now, I was never outstandingly strong like lifting weights, but I am stronger now than I was when I was 20. And I feel good, and women look good to me.